No, but the same thing happened. Lendo yenzeka
Honourable
ibiyenzekile
member, you are
izolo.
now, let me put it this way. Honourable colleagues,
No, but we need fanele si
Honourable
understand into
Felicia,
okokubana lento yenzekayo namhlanje
Honourable-
yongabi na-interpreters
Honourable
nayizolo
member,
iyenzekile. So
Honourable-
funeka sithini thina sinyanzelekile into yokuba sithethe isingesi.
I fully
Sinyanzelekile thina uba sithethe
appreciate
isingesi.
your point, but I would expect
No,
of you
but
as
but
Honourable
akufanelanga
member,
yenzeke oko because yenzekile izolo iyenzeka namhlanje. Into yokokubana thina singakwazi uzi-expressa. Kaloku
Honourable
so
members, order.
makasivumele sithethe iilanguages zethu kaloku yile nto siyithethayo.
Honourable members, order. This matter has now gone far enough. Honourable Niaus, I'm not going to take your point now. I am still on the floor and voting.
Sudikwa chairperson
Honourable member,
kuba ungasiva.
Honourable member,
Sudikwa chairperson. Andicingi into yokuba unalo ilungelo lento yokuba udikwe kusithi
Honourable
kuba
member, I will
ungasiva.
not allow you to speak if I have not recognized you. If you are serious about the rules,
Uyasihlukumeza kodwa phina uyazi
serious about the
uyasihlukumeza
rules,
chairperson.
member.
Hayi
Chairperson.
kukuhlukumeza
You-
uyasihlukumeza.
Chairperson, I think
Uyasihlukumeza.
House, I
think-
have already
I think we
told you,
must-
please
Chairperson.
write to the speaker to
Chairperson.
object.
Chairperson,
Honourable
can
members,
can
I will
ask
not
you-
take any further
No, Chairperson, can
points of order.
it is not a
Member,
point
I have
of order.
Member, I have
It's not
not
a point of
recognized
order.
you.
It's not a
I-
point of order.
Then
not a point of order.
I do not recognize you. It is
Chairperson.
within the rules that I recognize you
I
or not.
think
I'm
you
not
can-
recognizing you
can
now.
actually you can go as far as you go. 2 points that I want to raise. There are 3 languages that were actually used. It's Afrikaans. There was no interpretation. You never actually intervened on that particular matter. And people who are actually sitting here, it's a violation of the constitution of this country. We are not referring to any rule. I'm referring you to the constitution of this country. That is point number 1. You must acknowledge that English was actually used. The other languages were used. Afrikaans was used. You never actually had a problem with that. Now, when issues are actually tabled in vernacular, which is a constitutional matter, you're actually interfering. That is actually your point of order. And you must actually have respect to our languages. We don't take kind of that. We can't take kind of that. And indeed, we're going to actually take this matter up with your good self because that actually is segregation to our languages, which are actually enshrined in the Constitution and in the Bill of Rights.
Absolutely. Honourable member, I could not agree with you more. We have 12 official languages. And you were more than welcome to raise a point of order with the
We must
Afrikaans.
tell you, we don't take kind of that
Honourable member.
attitude towards our languages.
Now, the attitude is not my attitude. I have informed you.
It's definitely your attitude. We don't take kind. Our languages cannot continue to be subjugated and to be undermined like you are actually doing. You must respect that house. You must be honorable. And we are actually pointing it now. We are actually pointing it now. It can't go on like this, not anymore with our language.
Now, let me make this very, very clear. Nobody could have told me that in 2024 that I would witness such a day where African peoples are in parliament and they are simply stating that, hey, you have as a white African, you are speaking the language that you decide to speak in parliament. Equally so, the Africans here, the languages that we have that we speak that have been passed down for eons, we should be allowed equally to speak our language in parliament as well. And the main issue that the white Afrikaners have is the fact that they're like, hey, well, we're in parliament. These are the rules. This is how this is supposed to go. And, there's no change that's going to happen to it. But I want to reiterate to a lot of people again that the whole continent of Africa is heavily melanated. The people there that are amongst the original people there don't make up a large percentage, especially if they are very light. They do not make up a large percentage. Africa as a whole has about, a billion or 1.1 billion people, if not more, on the face of that landmass. And the greater majority of those people, there are hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of languages there. And then there are even many more when it deals with the subversion of that very same dialect. And then it goes a step deeper when you have different regions that mix and mash their languages together. So it's a very deep thing, right? But yet you have people that were not historically born there. Origin wise, that is not specifically where they come from. But yet they are there and they're telling the original people there what language is okay to speak and what language is not okay to speak. And this has so many different undertones there, it's ridiculous. And again, we're dealing with the rules of the old, right? When you deal with Europe and you deal with the UK and how it is that they took over, different parts of Africa, ruled over, how they have these type of 360 deal contracts that they made back into the 17, 16, 15, and all of these other hundreds, right? And these same people are there claiming to be African, which they are not, because originally that is not their place of origin. They came from somebody somewhere else, like they might have came from Dutch, right? They might be French, right? They might have been from Spain, right? They might have came from a whole bunch of other areas, none of which are African in origin, but yet they're there. And they're telling the people there that they can't speak their own dialect. Wow. And people like to say that things like this don't exist. People always like to say, like, oh, well, it's only an American thing. If you guys are more cultured and if you guys went around the world, you would see that the whole thing dealing with race and all these, it doesn't exist. Obviously, it does exist. It exists in a great deal of many forms and fashions, this being one of them. Last time I checked, when the Europeans came to North America, they stripped the natives of their language, of their religion, of their heritage, and told them that they had to adopt what it is that the Europeans believed in, how it is that they spoke, the clothes that they wore. They had to, quote unquote, modernize themselves to what Europeans would actually call being civilized. See how that works? When you have a whole invasive species deciding to come directly over to another area and then they want to impose their will and their doctrines and their many things onto the original people. And here in 2024, you're able to see that exact same thing. You don't have to read a book about it. You don't have to watch old news clips. 2024, this is what you're seeing at this moment in time.